So I put it under contract at $58,000, sold it to my cash buyer at $78,000, made $20,000 on the deal, and the ARV of this property is $170,000. What's up YouTube, BizMath here, and I am so excited for today's video. I'm going to break down my largest wholesale deal to date, a $20,000 wholesale real estate deal. Before we go on, you all be sure to like this video, so smash that like button right now. It really supports this channel. And comment down below if you have any questions about how I got this deal or different ways that you can close $20,000 wholesale deals. And then subscribe if you're not subscribed. A lot of you all watch my videos but are not subscribed, so be sure to subscribe down below. $20,000 wholesale deal. So you all see that right now. So that closed on 10/16/2020, so it's recent. I'm actually showing you all the physical evidence, actually showing you all I close deals, all right, you all? Or if I have something wired, I would show you all just a screenshot of the wire and different things like that. So be sure to vet who you're listening to see if they're actually closing deals. And then another thing, you all, before we go and break down this massive deal, you all obviously see my business is growing. I'm learning how to get larger margins in my business, and some of you all know I offer a mentoring program and a online course. So if you all are interested in the online course where you have all the videos there, A to Z, how to wholesale real estate, for this deal, I'm running a special coupon code for you all. If you all use the coupon code 20K at the checkout, so the number's 20 and the letter K, you get $100 off of my course. So it usually runs for $497, and so if you use that coupon code for a limited time, you'll get $100 off. And then for my mentoring program, if you all are ready to take the next step and really have someone guide you into your wholesale real estate business and just help you analyze deals and talk to sellers, and just that extra step, head over to my website, www.bizmatthew.com, to apply. And you all know, if business is growing, the prices of that mentorship may change. I know I had calls with some of you all already, so if you really want to lock in that price today, do it now. And one more thing I want to say about this deal, if you all have been watching my channel, I actually documented this very exact deal. So I have a video about how I contacted the seller, the follow-ups through text of the seller, and I show you all the exact text receipts for this deal and between me and the seller. So click on the card above, or just find it in my channel. And then I have a video on how I found a cash buyer using Facebook Marketplace. And then soon I'll upload a video to this channel on me going to the title company and picking up the check, and then later talk about how to find a title company as a wholesaler in real estate. All right, you all, so stay tuned for that. Let's go over and head over to the house where I will break down step by step how I got this deal. I'll break down the motivation behind the deal, the timeline to sell, the condition of the property, and the price. Those are like the 4 pillars that Brent Daniels talks about on TTP. So shout out to him. And then I'll just talk about how I was able to find this deal and market it out to the seller, and also how I found the cash buyer and signed the property and was able to talk to the buyer and be like, hey, I'm making 20K, I'm making a good spread. I worked hard on this deal. I spent money on this deal and different things like that. So let's head over to the house right now. All right, you all, so we're outside the house currently. I'm in this position because the sun is right here, but let me just show you the house a little bit. So that's it right here. So I'll put some B-roll of it and everything like that. But let me just talk about the different things about this deal. So number one, how did I get this lead? How did I acquire this property? So I got this property just by driving for dollars. So I was driving around this neighborhood in Chattanooga, Tennessee that I know a lot of investors invest in, and that it's a good rental area around here. And I came across this road, and this road is actually a dead end. So remember, you all, when you're driving for dollars, drive your dead end streets, your cul-de-sacs. Don't skip those streets. And I came across this property, and so I noticed signs of distress. I noticed the yard wasn't completely kept. I noticed that the roof didn't look in the best shape and different things like that. And I noticed that it seemed vacant. It seemed like no one was here. And so I put the information of the house down. Then after that, I just started marketing it to the seller through direct mail. You can do cold calling, you can do text, you can do PPC or different other marketing techniques, but I used postcards for this particular lead. So that was my form of marketing. So the seller girlfriend actually called me through the number on my postcard, left the voicemail. I called the number back. They told me the situation. Basically, this property was owned by the seller's dad. He passed away and gave him the property. And so basically, they didn't go into probate yet, but they had to go through the process of probate, but they were interested in selling this property. So that kind of goes in with the motivation part of this deal. Motivation was that they inherited this property. They didn't live in this property. The father passed away. The son wanted to sell it. He doesn't want to live here. He doesn't want to fix it up. He didn't want to deal with all the rehab costs and different things like that. And so that was the motivation behind it. And so I guess technically this was like a pre-probate lead that I followed up with during probate and even after probate. So that was the main motivation, just not wanting a house that was inherited to them from a loved one that passed away. Number 2, timeline to sell. So when I first got in contact with them, like I told you all, this was 6 months of follow-up. And so the timeline to sell was until they got probate done. And they were just keep on telling me, hey, we still had to get probate done. And because of this whole pandemic that's been happening, the courthouses were slower, different lawyers were taking longer and different things like that. And so the process was a little bit longer than usual. And so with this particular property, with the timeline to sell, it took probably, they were eager to sell as soon as possible, but we just had to wait until probate process was done. And so I knew for sure there was interest, there was motivation, but there was definitely other competitions, because during this timeline to sell, they were telling me they were getting offers from other people, and they were having other people look at the property. And so when we start talking about price, we'll talk more about my competitors, the other wholesalers, and different things like that. So number 3, let's talk about the condition of the property. With this particular property, I could tell even outside that this property probably never been updated, needed a full rehab, but I could tell also that the structure and the foundation of the property was sound. So I was actually texting the seller throughout this pandemic, and I was just telling her, hey, we're able to close deals sight on scene. If you can send me some photos or even a video. And so she sent me some photos of the property, and I could tell, yeah, this property does need a lot of work. But I asked her, how are the floors? Is anything sagging or dipping in the floors? And she was like, no. I was like, okay, good. Boom. So eventually I had to actually view the property. And so I went over to the property. I met with the lady, the girlfriend of the son who was inheriting the property. And so we walked through the property. Right away I could smell mold, so there was a lot of moisture damage. So that was a bad condition of the property. Number 2, nothing was updated, so all the flooring, new paint, new appliances, all of that needs to be replaced. And then number 3 about the condition of the property was the roof. The roof definitely needed to be replaced. It hasn't been replaced in years, and I can tell that just by looking outside the property. And so and also the yard work, there needs to be extensive yard work and different things like that. But they had central air and heat. They have, good bones on the property, and it's in a really good rental area. So the condition of the property was rough. I would say it would probably take a good 40 to 50 grand to bring it up to market value. So now let's talk about price, you all. So the ARV, I guess, all fixed up, what is this property worth? So in this area, I ran comps on this property and I saw all fixed up. This property could sell for a good 170 to 180 on the market. And so with that, I used that as my baseline. And so from there, I asked what they were wanting for the property. And right away, they were looking for $70,000 for this property. So I knew right away that they were motivated to sell, right? And so with that, I started looking at what more of my cash buyers were buying around the area. And I saw, because of the pandemic, that my buyers are actually buying at a much lower price. And so with me, I offered them $52,500 for the property. And right away, they rejected it. But remember, you all, this was 6 months of follow-up. And so I had time to just stand firm on my price and just let them know what I thought. And so even after I viewed the property, I told them, hey, I'm still firm at $52,500. And so after they went through probate, they came back to me and was all like, okay, we're ready to sell, but we're still at $70,000. I was like, unfortunately, during these times, with everything going on, an election coming up, I can't go up that much. I'm still firm at my price at $52,500. Boom. So they're like, okay, no matter, it's all good. But I kept on following up with them. I was like, but if you can sign today, where would you be? And they still told me $70,000. And so I knew at $70,000 I could make a little bit of money, but I knew it probably wasn't worth my time unless they went lower. So they actually reached back to me, and they were very eager to sell. They're ready to just get rid of this house. And so what they did, they went all the way down to $60,000. And once again, you all, I have a video about how this deal went over text. So be sure to look at that video. They went down to $60,000. And so even then, I didn't grab their number. I gave them another price of $56,300 and some random numbers. And then they went down to $58,000. I was like, okay, boom. If we can get an agreement signed today and give me access to the house today, we can do $58,000. And so I put this property under contract at $58,000, right? And so this property, all fixed up, is probably worth, I would say, $170,000. It can rent for about $1,000 to $1,100 a month. So I got this property under contract at $58,000, and I sold it to my cash buyer at $78,000. And so my assignment fee was $20,000. Next, I want to talk about a little bit about how I found my cash buyer and how I was able to, just present to them, hey, I'm making $20,000 on this deal, and how I found this cash buyer to find this deal. So how did I find a cash buyer for this deal, and how did it go during the cash buyer's appointment? So basically, I found this cash buyer just by posting this deal on Facebook Marketplace. Someone reached out to me. I was like, yeah, this is an all cash purchase. Is this something you can do? They're all like, yes. When can I see the house? Boom. So I actually scheduled a time, and actually 2 cash buyers came in to see this property. I reached out to one, and one new one came from Facebook Marketplace, like I just explained. And I researched this person before, and I saw that he owned an LLC, and they owned multiple properties around the area. Afterwards, one left and told me they'll get back to me later, but the other one actually stayed here because he wanted to just offer me a price for the property, because he wanted to just get this deal as soon as possible. So we talked later. I actually built rapport with this buyer. I got to know more about him and his family and just life in general. And so he was very eager to help me out and just encourage me in this business, knowing that he owns multiple rentals. And so building that rapport, it just made it super easy to let him know that I worked hard for this deal, I put money in this deal, and now I'm making a good amount on this property. I didn't tell him the exact amount. I actually just sent him the assignment on contract, which showed that I was making $20,000 later in an email. And so after all that, he was totally fine with that. He was all like, this is how I get the asset, I get the house. So if you're making 20 grand, no worries at all. I just want to make sure, everything's good at the title company, that we can close clean and different things like that. And I got to just figure out a little bit more on what he's looking for, his buying criteria, the different rentals and flips that he's looking for, and in which specific areas around this city that he's looking for. That's basically the nuts and bolts of this deal. How did I find this deal? Just to recap, how did I find this deal? I found this deal driving for dollars. How did I market it? Direct mail. How long did it take to close this deal? Close to 6 months of follow-up. Motivation: loved one passed away, inherited property. They didn't want to deal with the rehab, and they didn't want the house. All right, timeline to sell as soon as possible, as soon as probate ended. condition of the property, needed a full rehab, no structural or foundation issue, plumbing is decent, electric is decent, just a good cleanup, take the mold out, update appliances, carpet, walls, and the roof. And then the price. So I put it under contract at $58,000, sold it to my cash buyer at $78,000, made $20,000 on the deal, and the ARV of this property is $170,000. I hope you all really enjoyed this video. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, comment down below, and once again, if you all are interested in Wholesale Deals Academy, the course or the mentorship, link down below. For a limited time only, $100 off my online course. If you just use the coupon code 20K at checkout, you'll get $100 off. And I'm just doing this because this is my biggest deal, and I just want to share, some of the fruits of my labor with you all through a coupon code. So if you are interested in learning A to Z how to wholesale real estate, check that out. All right, you all. I'll talk to you all later. Have a great day.